Welcome to the GC BizCast, a collaboration of J. Whitney Bunting College of Business and Technology and the Department of Communication at Georgia College and State University. Here we discuss important topics with today's business leaders and educators. We produce weekly podcasts from our beautiful campus in Milledgeville, Georgia. We're excited that you've joined us. Our conversations should inform you and entertain you. The views expressed are the views of the individuals on the program and do not represent the views of Georgia College and State University. So, let's get started.
Brent Evans is an associate professor of economics. Brent earned a PhD from Mississippi State University and is a 2004 graduate of GCSU. His research interests are broad, but his recent projects focus primarily on sports economics and personal finance.
Well, thank you for meeting with us first, Dr. Evans.
Yeah,
We're
sure
talk
thing.
about future of finance at the school and the new committee that has been started, the investment committee. And just to start things off, I think we should talk about finance as a broad topic as a whole, just to get people into it and see what we're discussing. So the first question we brought up is, why is financial literacy important in general to people?
Yeah, I kind of feel like financial literacy, being able to manage your money and make financial decisions, is kind of one of the key aspects of life. There's a certain number of things that everybody needs to be capable in. They need to have some idea about their physical health, their mental well-being. And financial literacy is just one of those things. Just like you need to be able to read, just like you need to be able to exercise, you need to be able to manage your money. You need to be able to make financial decisions, because nobody's really going to do it for you. Even if you plan to hire somebody to help you along the way, you need to know what avenues to take to find someone to hire. And it really is important that you start young, because as you get older and older, it gets more and more challenging to use financial literacy in a way that will benefit you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what most people don't understand is how much this kind of psychology of money affects your mental health as well. You know, having enough in your savings account to go to sleep at night, to understand that you're going to be okay given any moment for your kids or your wife in the future. And there's actually a good book on that most people I could read. And if the next question, which we can kind of transition to a little bit, talk about both, is how can people start to become more financially literate? I would recommend reading books. The book I started with was The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And it's a great book because it goes through a bunch of examples throughout time, different periods of time where people think about money differently. You know, people grow up in different ways, and I'm assuming most people that will be listening to this podcast go to Georgia College, and us getting a degree, it puts us a step ahead of everybody in the first place. And that's what people don't understand, is that there's a difference that people think about money, and it kind of affects the way you go to sleep at night and what you need to do to become financially literate. I would recommend reading books to start out with to become financially literate, and there's so many benefits to becoming literate in finance in general. It's more than just, sleeping well at night. Throughout your entire life, you're going to have money. You're going to be borrowing it, spending it, investing it, or lending it, maybe even if you go into that kind of industry. And being literate is going to help you throughout those events enormously. I mean, I'm in your personal finance class, and I've already known that there's many ways people can reduce taxes, way beyond what you originally think just from looking at the brackets. On top of that, people love to choose stocks. People can learn to invest, but they don't understand exactly what they're investing in. They could be buying a fund that charges an insane expense ratio versus something where they could be saving a lot of money in the long run. And you could be saving yourself 6 figures worth of money if you are financially literate. It's very important to know those kind of things. And you can also take advantage of the economic opportunities. I mean, right now, interest rates are really high. Everybody's saying it's a bad time to buy a house, get a mortgage, just because how much you'll be paying, having to refinance in the future. And knowing that can help you make much better decisions and save a lot of money in the future. I mean, being financially literate can only help you. Everybody's going to have money.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that you just touched on there. And I think to be a well-rounded person, everything you just said, if you're listening to this podcast, everything that you just said there, Joe, the listener needs to understand what you said. So if there's anything that Joe just said there that you didn't understand, I would say you're not to the point where you're adequately financially literate. Like you said, it ranges from your mental health, like being able to sleep at night, all the way up to just optimizing and really taking full advantage of what is available to you. But you got to do something. You can't do nothing. And reading is certainly a good path along the way. Podcast are another good avenue. Yeah. A few out there I'd recommend. Choose FI is a pretty good one. That one's about becoming financially independent. Of course, you can listen to more kind of popular podcasts like Planet Money. That will give you more of a business side exposure to financial ideas, but anything can help. And certainly reading, I agree with you, Joe. the most easily accessible thing you can do is read. Find some finance books out there. You mentioned one that's very good. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins is another one that I would recommend, but there's many. And what I would say is try to find some books that a lot of people recommend, that are well respected, and jump in and start reading it, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah. Another great book is the 80-20 principle. That's a good one that a lot of people start off with. Kind of shows you what you should do with your money when you first get it. And what I was going to talk about and transition to the next question is what kind of a person is looking to seek this kind of financial knowledge. And the point I want to make is to start now. Just knowing the time value of money calculations that we were taught in class. I did a small little calculation that if you start investing today, say around $2,000, in 30 years when we're on 50, because I'm 20, it'd be worth $15,000. But I waited 10 years and became financial literate later on in my life when I'm 30, still took out the money at the same time, adjusted for inflation, it'd be half of what it could have been worth. And obviously that 2,000 isn't going to stay at that amount, but that's just kind of to prove to you that the longer you wait, basically the more money you're wasting. Right now, inflation is going down, so it's not a horrible time just to have your money in a savings account, but there's much better ways to be holding your money in a safer way than you think. Most people think investing is just risky, it's kind of a gamble, but there's safe ways to invest. Bonds are a great time to invest in right now. Yields are high. So that kind of person that should be looking to get financial knowledge should be as young as possible.
Yep. I agree with you. And when I teach personal finance, I go over a lot of the mistakes that I made when I was in my mid and late 20s. And you would think that somebody like me would know better. A PhD in economics, you would think I've been trained with personal finance. That's just not the case. When you get a PhD in economics, you don't really learn that much about managing your money. When you get a PhD in finance, you really don't learn that much about managing your money. So a lot of the professors that, are teaching finance courses, teaching economics courses are surprisingly unskilled financially. And I learned that the hard way, making some pretty big financial decisions that adversely affected me, like I said, in my late 20s. So what's kind of frustrating sometimes about this material when I teach it is the students who seek out taking my personal finance class, for example, usually are motivated, and they're like you, Joe. They've already read some. They already know a little bit about personal finance, which ironically, they're probably the people who need that class the absolute least. So I would say if you have some sort of tendency to shy away from personal finance, if you're not interested in investing, you're probably the person who needs to learn the most about it, because it becomes work. It's kind of like, if somebody's really interesting, and I make the analogy that, lifting weights, going to the gym, a lot of times feels a lot like personal finance to me. It's you're doing something for your future. You're kind of investing in yourself. And the type of person who knows a lot about lifting weights, they don't need a weightlifting class. It's the type of person who doesn't care about lifting weights that probably has the most to gain. The type of person who doesn't care about, learning about nutrition, they're the type of person that probably has the most to gain about nutrition. So one thing I would say is with personal finance is the people who need it the most are the people that aren't seeking it out, and becomes even more important to talk about it. So if you're the type of person like you guys are that knows about finance, knows how to manage your money, talk openly about it, get people to discuss it, even if they're uncomfortable, because they're the ones who benefit the most.
Yeah, unfortunately, people I feel like today are very scared to talk about money. They think it's kind of a touchy subject. They don't know where to start, and it might be embarrassing if you don't know much at first. But
that's right.
Like you said, it's very important to start at some point rather than later on in your life when it might be too late. And if there's a student listening to this podcast that does want to become more financially literate, one of the best recommendations I can make for you is to take your personal finance class. I mean, there is no prerequisites to it, and it's open to anybody. Slots might fill up soon, but if you're a senior or junior and you get that first kind of option to schedule, I definitely recommend it. It's not the easiest class you're going to take at this college, but it's worth it, and it teaches you a lot about everything you know: credit cards, taxes, investing, time value money. It's a great opportunity and a great class, and it's very easy to pay attention and succeed in it.
Yeah, thanks there for the advertisement. And even if you don't want to take the class, if you're either thinking I don't have the time in my schedule, or I don't want to deal with taking a pretty difficult course, all my lecture videos are posted to YouTube, so you can just burn through those and learn about it. I'm also building an online textbook in the spring. I'm on sabbatical, which means I don't have to teach. I don't have to do any research or service. I'm just going to be devoting all my time to developing a free open access personal finance textbook with videos and everything. Hop on there. It's freefinancebook.com. Easy to remember, freefinancebook.com. jump on there and you can learn about how to manage your money on your own time. Also, I'm teaching the class in the summer as well. So if you need credits and you don't want to deal with it, taking an in-person class, you just want to learn from home. I'm teaching it in July this coming summer.
That's amazing. I'll definitely be checking that out. And now that we've talked about finance as a broad topic on a whole and the importance of being financially literate in general, since the finance school is so new at Georgia College and we've had so many incoming freshmen, what do you guys think the future of the finance school looks like at Georgia College with all these new opportunities?
I think it looks really good, especially that what we're creating, the investments committee, because there's a lot of learning that we're going to touch base on.
Yeah, what exactly is the investment committee that we're talking about?
So the investments committee is a student managed fund that we both created. And so the idea is to diversify in all aspects of the market to create a Georgia College fund. So we're following the S&P 500. There's 11 main sectors part of the S&P 500. And we're following all of them. And so per every single sector, we're going to have a managing director. Managing director is a mentor that's going to mentor the other students or members of the club. And so they're going to pitch ideas of what companies we think we should invest into by creating PowerPoints. And so a normal meeting is going to look like students are going to go up and pitch the company that they believe that should be invested into. So it would include who's part of the C-suite, recent news about the company, and then what's going on with the current environment or current economy right now. And we're also going to be teaching two models, the discounted cash flow statement and the comparable company analysis. And we're going to be teaching those by the managing directors or the mentors.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's not just for finance majors trying to be out there watching this that isn't a finance major. We talked about how to become financially literate, where to start. This would be a great opportunity for students to learn about investing. You're going to see what a typical brokerage looks like, how you actually buy and sell shares of companies and stocks, and kind of the ways that companies now value them and decide whether or not they should invest in them. It's going to be a great opportunity. And in the future, it may even be worth a few credit hours and could be graded. I'm looking forward to it. And the presentations are going to be great for resumes. It's going to be a report on a company using valuations that real-time companies and employees who have degrees use. So it's nothing but beneficial, and I would recommend definitely checking it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We understand beating the market is very challenging, but like our main focus is on education, learning, and teaming, because we're all going to be working as a team together. And it's going to be very important because you're going to learn how to speak in front of a class. It's just good for so many different important business scenarios that you're going to eventually be under.
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely great initiative. And, it's hard for me to think of someone that couldn't potentially benefit from this. So if you're not a finance major, you got a lot to learn in finance. So it's a great place to learn. It's a great place to improve your presentation skills, to meet people from different majors. If you're a freshman coming in, it's a great place to learn and see if you're interested in finance, if it's something that appeals to you. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm really glad that you guys started that initiative. The hopes is that we'll get some donations and actually have some money available that we're investing. So we'll be investing real money, and eventually we can spend that money. How we spend it would probably depend on what the donor would want to do with that money and what we can do with it. But the stakes are going to be real. The plan is we're really going to be investing, and the choices the students make will be used to make changes.
Yeah. We're going to have a lot of opportunity in the future too. And it's going to be much more than just investing knowledge. I mean, our goal is to have guest speakers in the finance world come out and talk to us about not only investing, but about how they succeed in the finance industry in their life. And we know somebody from Alabama who started up the same investment committee back in 2014, and now they have around 2 million assets under management. And that kind of thing on your resume looks great. And it's just going to be a great opportunity to learn more about finance and just investing in general. So.
Yes. And it's very important that next semester we're building a portfolio to be managed. So for the following years, we're going to be deciding what should be still invested to or de-investing.
Exactly right. It's going to be good. And back to what Dr. Evans said about the profits we make from the investments, it's going to be going back to the school. It's going to be beneficial, mostly not philanthropic. Could be. It depends on what the donor wants to do. So
yes,
it's going to be a good opportunity.
That's right. We don't know what it's going to be. I mean, if a donor says, look, we're going to give you $50,000 and we want to use it on the Baldwin County school systems, well, the students can manage the fund, and we'd be managing that fund, and it would be earning interest, which would be better than just throwing it into a bank account. So I know if I was a donor, I'd be really excited about that opportunity.
It's going to be a good opportunity. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
And if you guys don't have any questions, it was a good talk with you guys. I'm excited for the future of finance at this school. It's growing fast, borderline exponentially with how many students came in this freshman year. I mean, we're going to need as many teachers and staff as we can get in the finance field. So
that's right. We're currently hiring in finance. So we're going to try to add another finance faculty member. So if you're watching this and you're a student, you're interested in finance, feel free to reach out to me. We do have 85 freshmen that declared finance major this year. So it's definitely going to be a popular major. We're housed within the economics and finance department. Our economics major has been really strong in years past, and we're excited about the option to add this finance major. We graduated a few last year. 2 went straight into grad school. 1's working in Goldman Sachs. So if you're a student, I think the opportunities are amazing. If you're not a student and you want to learn more about the finance major, you want to get involved, maybe even make a donation, again, I'd be a great person to reach out to. If you're interested in maybe throwing some money towards the investment committee, of course, I'd be a good person to talk to. Obviously, Joe and Jeff as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.